for my help. Oh Lord, Lord, I trust in you. Now the Father singing for my help. Yeah. For my help. Oh Lord, oh Lord, I trust in you. Now all the altos say for my help. For my help.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome, welcome, one and all. All right, so let's talk about a couple of things now that are important to you, that are important to me. Um, Let us exchange thoughts. So, the first thing I want to look at is the state of content in Manchester. Of course, I've been telling you guys about how the water has risen up in that area long after Hurricane Melissa has come and gone, but for some reason the water keeps springing up. So I've located a video here for you to kind of just give you guys an idea. As you can see, you're just able to make out the tops of the houses here. You're not able to identify anything that looks like the road surface here. Everything has been overrun by water. Let's just take a little tour at this. I can just imagine, the people who have houses there and so on, how they're feeling right now. It's absolutely terrifying, you know. As you can see, everything is just overrun by water. Yeah, so I pray that the persons who are living in the content area are well, pray that they are safe, and that they will find some comfort in the midst of all that is happening. Because I can just imagine how difficult this is for them at this time. What are your thoughts, though, guys? And thank you for joining the live. Those of you who are up and about and awake. Um, Sister Dawn, greetings from Pittsburgh. How are you doing? How is it in Pittsburgh? How is the temperature there? Is it hot? Is it cold? Has snow started to fall as yet? Let me know what it's like there. Sister Evelyn, greetings and salutations to you. How am I doing tonight? I'm doing well. Thanks be to God in the midst of everything else that is happening. God has been absolutely good to us. Um, yeah, I have been attacked on YouTube, um, but I'm rejoicing nonetheless. I find it a joy to be able to suffer persecution because of the name of the Lord. Of course, I've been called everything outside of my name. I've been labeled a homosexual. Can you imagine that? I've been labeled, Andrew Dixon has been labeled as a homosexual on a particular YouTube channel. I will not comment much on it yet until I am so led or so pushed to do. But it doesn't faze me because I know who I am. I've never been gay for a day in my life. Never have been and never will be. But someone is out to tear me down, and so they're labeling me as that. But apart from that, we're good. You understand? We're good, giving God thanks for another day to keep striving for holiness. So you're saying, Sister Dawn, it's cold with a whole lot. Oh my gosh. I can just imagine because I was in Philly for a little bit last year during the end of year service, I think it was. And that snow, oof, that was brutal. And I'm not accustomed to it, so my fingers were suffering even with gloves on. I was still feeling it, so I can just imagine. Um, you had a little snow yesterday, Sister Dawn. Oh, wow. All right. Well, stay safe. Sister Evelyn says it's cold in Cleveland, Ohio, with a little snow. All right. And Val Davis says, wonderful. Brother Andrew told you jealousy is as cruel as the grave, and what he is doing is projecting his flaws on you. Yeah, I thought about that. I thought about, like, is it because some of the graphic things that I heard, um, describing certain things and so on, describing my underwear, you know, it made me wonder, like, how do you sit down and come up with these thoughts and these images, like you're trying to imagine me in some kind of phony action, to come up with those thoughts. I've never sit down and come up with certain imaginations of men, so it was funny to see someone try to project something on me that I know, has no bearing on who I am. But it was also creepy and disgusting, at the thought of it. But yeah, one of my viewers, subscribers, was saying I should sue him. I saw the comments. I'm like, people don't know what they're doing. They just like to talk and talk too much and get themselves in all kinds of problems. Yeah. Um, let's see. Don't even comment. Yeah. Um, I suffer from, oh my, I'm not even sure how to call this, scatia, scatica, and all right, I know the arthritis one, so I can safely pronounce that one. And a torn rotator cuff. Oh no, sorry about that. So when it's this cold, everything hurts. Ay ay ay, ay ay ay. Sorry about that. So, what do you do to cope with the cold in this time, given all of what you just explained to me? Like, how do you cope with that? Let me know, what are your strategies. Maybe there's something I can learn from when I get back there. Like, and like, when you wear multiple layers of clothing and so on, does that help in any way? Let me know if that helps in any way. Is there a particular way that one should layer their clothes and so on? I don't know. Let me know. I can learn a thing or two. I'm trying to get the video in again for you guys so that you guys can see, what I was sharing, because there's someone that was saying they were not seeing the video. So I'm trying to show it to you guys again. Yeah. But it's it's a mixed feeling for me based on what's happening in Jamaica. So let me speak of the positive first. The blessing is this, that despite the negative, despite the pain, despite the discomfort, despite the destruction that has taken place, there is still a blessing to know that, one, we are still alive. That for me is absolutely important, you know, to know that we are still here in the land of the living, despite everything that has happened. So many people have lost their lives, but we are still here. And so for that, we must be grateful, you know. So I'm really thanking God for that. Um, as for me personally, where I am at, where I'm located, I haven't suffered any loss. So for that, I am also grateful. Particularly in Kingston, we have not had a lot of, effects of the hurricane Melissa. So for that, we must be grateful. Haven't heard of any loss of life at all in the church in Jamaica so far. So we must be thankful for that as well. Um, those of us who are in, the major cities that were not impacted significantly, we are still able to move about, to buy all the necessary things, food items, personal care items, and stuff like that. So we have to give God thanks for that. There are persons I was talking to somebody today who grew up in Westmoreland and migrated to Spanish Town for majority of their adult life. And they were sharing with me how when they went to visit their people, they have brothers and sisters, nieces, nephews, and that kind of thing living there. When they arrived at the location and they were looking around, they could hardly make anything out. They all the landmarks that they were accustomed to, maybe it was a gas station, maybe it was a particular house or a particular group of houses along the street. Maybe it was an old church, maybe it was a school building, maybe it was a group of trees. But something that when you go into your community, you can recognize it. Well, I was told that when she went to the area, everything that she knew up to a year ago, all of a sudden, there was nothing identifiable. It's like she was in an open wilderness, not knowing if she should turn to the left or to the right. Because as far as her eyes could see, everything was just decimated. There were a lot of houses that were made from board, wood. All of that were beaten down flat to the ground. What wasn't beaten to the ground was taken up into the air and thrown somewhere else. I mean, like an entire house lifted up in some places. I was talking to a sister from the choir, and she, in fact, while the hurricane was going on, we were talking to them inside the choir group in WhatsApp. And so I was just checking on members of the choir, saying, send me a message, let me know how you are in your area where you are. And she sent me a video, looking at the rain and looking at the breeze that was just coming in a little bit on the outside. But as soon as she ended that video, not long thereafter, she said while they were there in the house, they witnessed the wind take up the house from the foundation and lifted it over their heads and threw it away in the distance. And now they were just open to the elements in the heart of this hurricane. I can just imagine how traumatizing that experience might have been, was, in fact. So, there are things like that has been happening. Someone that was talking to me today told me they lost a cousin because what happened is while the hurricane was being boisterous and things were happening, they went outside to check on their goats because this was a goat farmer. So he went outside to check on his goats, And while he's there trying to save his goats to prevent them from being either washed away or blown away or from anything flying to hit them, he lost his life because something was carried in the wind and cut his throat, and he died, you know. So there's so many stories. I think I saw something saying that there are up to about 15 persons still missing as a result of Hurricane Melissa. So, it's really shocking to see what's happening. And for the people who are just in Kingston, who are in Spanish Town, who are in Portmore, I guess we don't know the severity of the issue because these areas are not as greatly affected, if at all affected. You know, you have to go into some of the areas in Montego Bay, some of the areas in Trelawney, some of the areas in Westmoreland, some of the areas in St. Elizabeth. And then you see what really took place and what people are battling with. I can just imagine also the mental space of these people, because if you're in a space where there's so much dead body around you, or there are so many dead bodies around you, there's the smell from the decaying of bodies, whether it's close to you or it's in the distance. You start smelling it, it starts polluting the quality of air that you're breathing. And then on top of that, you've lost your home, you've lost your shelter. Um, Someone is asking me, did anyone from the Truth of God die? No, we haven't heard of any deaths, thank God, of anyone in the truth. Yeah, so far. But yeah, you're in an environment where you're hearing all these um, traumatic sounds from the wind, the howling of the wind. If you were at an area where the sea came in, because that's another thing, persons were letting us know that water came in up to about 16 feet high. All right. So this lets you know that the wind was carrying or pushing water from the rivers, water from the sea, and then rain was falling on top of that. So there was a mighty movement of water. And then this water was carrying debris, it was carrying mud, and so there's all of that. And then after all this ordeal is done, you're left without a home. And there are some people who are without food. So they have nothing to eat. And if your livelihood was within this community that is so badly affected, depending on the kind of job, if you were a teacher, then you would still get paid. If you're working with the government, you would still, have some income coming in. But if you were an entrepreneur, if you were running your own business and now your business is destroyed, you cannot function. So now your livelihood is affected. And if you have families to take care of, you can just imagine the devastation. You might have owned a vehicle, but your vehicle is now immobile because the water has come, mud has come. I was looking at a video with a guy. I think might have been a taxi operator. That was his livelihood. The wind broke off a part of a tree. The tree fell on his window, broke the window, and then came the water. And the water was so high that he could not stay downstairs. He had to scoop up his two children, and everybody from his family had to run upstairs for refuge. So his whole car was covered by the water. And when you look inside the car, it's just mud inside. It's really crazy. So now his car doesn't work. It's all mud inside. You open the dash, the bonnet. It's all mud and muck and everything. So that car is gonna have to get this an overall kind of treatment for it to work again, and to get it cleaned up for him to even sit in it, filled with mud, and for him to be able to carry passengers therein, and then to be able to move around in the town is another challenge because some of the roads are still impassable. Some of the roads have been broken up because of the rush of water. The water has dug trenches in some of the roads that makes it dangerous even if you're walking, let alone driving. So the devastation is rather severe. Someone is comparing this to Gilbert, 1988. Um, I'm hearing that this Melissa is worse than Hurricane Gilbert. That's what I'm being told. The difference, though, is that Gilbert practically affected the entire island of Jamaica, whereas this one it spared some of the parishes, the worst, but the parishes that actually were hit, the impact seems to be far greater than what Hurricane Gilbert did. That's the feedback I'm getting. I think I even saw two, what do you call those? Okay, so I call them satellite poles. That you Digicel or Flow would set up. Those massive metal poles that are so high, it's like taller than a regular house building, right? All metal through and through. I saw one of them in St. Elizabeth. The metal was bent and twisted. You would have thought that thing was made from paper, the way the wind did that metal. It bent it and twisted it and folded it, right? And that's why in some areas cell phones don't work. Internet doesn't work unless you have Starlink, because the reception has been affected by some of these satellite poles and so on that have been torn down, shaken up, bent, shattered, whatever word you want to use to describe it, across different areas in the island. There is a teacher from Trelawney. Now, Trelawney is not talked about much. Most of the attention was originally on St. Elizabeth, and then we started to notice that Westmoreland was hit hard as well, and we started to notice that Montego Bay, areas in Montego Bay were hit hard as well. Not much said about Trelawney, but Trelawney, there are areas in Trelawney that have been hit rather hard. There's one teacher at the Lower River Primary and Junior High, which in my time when I attended that same institution, it was Lower River All Age School. Her house was a solid 2-story house, and the roof was made of concrete. So there was no way for the hurricane to blow off the roof, but it moved the entire house.
I am Joan Montague. I'm a teacher at the Lower River Primary and Infant School. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm also a farmer. This is my dwelling. I was here on the Tuesday morning prior to the hurricane coming. I was on the second floor and I looked through the window and I realized that the sewage pipes were cracking from behind. I went to the other side of the building. There's a veranda, and I looked at the step going up to the road when I realized that the steps were cracking from the top coming down. I grabbed a bag I had packed with some documents, and I headed up the road. On reaching the top of the step, I realized that there was already a ditch separating the road from the structure. The pavement on top of the plaza was bursting up, and all I could do was jump over the ditch, and I ran to my neighbor's house. I live here alone. And you operate business on the up to the road level? My goods perish inside. They looted. I was just able to go in and salvage what was left. I'm still not able to access the second floor. All my furniture, everything, my clothes, everything is still there. Right now I live nowhere. I'm just catching with my neighbor.
That's how powerful this hurricane is, and this is just one example. There are several other examples as we go through. You know, I have classmates and friends from Trelawney, and they send so many videos and so many stories of things that happen in the Trelawney area. It's really heartbreaking to see what has happened. And you know what? My mom said something to me today. My mom went to the town that's close to her in Christiana, Manchester. And she said she's observing something about the people. She said she's observing that when the devastation of the hurricane hit, and while the hurricane was blowing, persons thought about it as a sign from the Lord that they should get themselves right. They thought about it as God giving a warning. But somehow, after the hurricane passed, it's as though people have not only gone back to the way they were, but it seems like they're getting worse. You know, my mom was lamenting because she's a senior citizen, and she was comparing to when she was a child. She was saying, when she was a child, you would not find any, you know, young person, teenager, or maybe even in their early 20s. They would never dare to use an indecent language. And you know, the Jamaican vernacular is very colorful, right? They tell you about all different kinds of materials. For those who understand what I'm saying, they know how to use those bad words. We call it bad word. You would not find the young persons use expletives in the presence of a senior, in the presence of an adult. You know, there was a certain level of respect, even if they were so angry and they chipped too bad wood. And when they looked, they saw an elderly, they were like, sorry, you know, they catch up on themselves and repent, apologize to the senior citizen and explain. So, boy, sorry, you know, I mean for cost that, you know, but the old boy, man, I get on my nerves, you know. There would be a certain level of respect that was in the society. But now, everything's gone to the dogs. There's no remorse for doing wrong. People are not kind and compassionate to each other anymore. And it's like, yeah, after the hurricane, and we were just calling on God, begging Him for mercies. When we heard the breeze, the baddest of bad man, calm. When him hear the breeze, how it a go on out a door. You know, when you hear not just even with the wind passing through the light wires, there's a particular howling, whistling, hissing sound that it made that's very unique. And it's almost impossible for you to replicate that sound. It's like a wailing woman, but it's much louder and it's much more scary. And on top of that, you hear houses tumbling down in the distance. You know, when there's a landslide, you hear trees falling. You hear the mighty rush and roaring of water. It's a whole experience. And so people tend to be humble and they say, well, let's call on the Lord, make we put on. If you like Nagan yet, put on one gospel song, put on one preacher, play something on your phone. You know, we get very religious for a while. But as soon as everything gone back to normal, here we are. Back to our life. So it's food for thought to see how we can examine the way we are living, the way we are operating. Um, Don said, "Yep, if Melissa had been at Gilbert, Jamaica would have been no more." I have to agree. If what happened to St. Elizabeth and Hanover and Trelawney, parts of Trelawney, and Montego Bay, parts of St. James, if that had walked through and through the entire island of Jamaica, the devastation, the loss of life, the loss of property, we would not have words to describe the death that would have swept over Jamaica. You know, because the force of God, like, you can't even get comfortable to say, I have been through hurricanes before, so I know what hurricanes are all about, and so I don't have to worry. I know my house is perfect. You can't even be sure that your house is perfect and ready for a hurricane. Because what we saw with Melissa, the speed wind of this thing, the force of the wind, and there's something else that's interesting. When I looked at the surveillance videos, the aerial videos that are coming out over Manchester and parts of Westmoreland, not only are the trees being blown down, but they're being burnt, and nobody lit a fire. So my assumption is this, that because the wind carried the water from the sea, and we all know the sea is salty. This is my assumption. I'm no meteorologist, I'm no scientist, but I'm trying to make sense of why the grass is burned so badly. Because usually, after a lot of water, grass grows quickly. But we're seeing a lot of burnt grass, and it's almost like it doesn't want to grow again. There are trees, some trees that are left standing, maybe a part of it broke off, you know, and it's still standing. Massive trees. The roots has not been disturbed, but the leaves are all burnt off. So it leaves the question, why? Well, my father told me because there is a section of my parents' house that was affected. They lost some zinc and so on. So my father told me while the wind was blowing, he was trying to do something similar to what he did during Gilbert, but it wasn't working. All right. So he was doing some kind of tying and whatever it was trying to hold on to it with a strong rope. He had to let it go. But he said that his face was exposed to the wind at one point, and he described it as there was something like dust that was being carried in the wind. Salty kind of dust that was carried in the wind. When I thought about that, I'm saying it sounds like particles from the sea. But just how far could the hurricane bring these particles from the sea and keep propelling it through the whole island? That much I don't know for sure. But yeah, if you have any theories, you could tell me. But just like the video I'm showing you here, if you're noticing towards the side of the road, the grass here is all burnt. And if you look at the aerial videos, I do have, if you look in my shorts on this channel, you can see the aerial videos that I have showing St. Elizabeth. And you can see the color of St. Elizabeth has changed. The overhead color in general has changed. The overhead color of Westmoreland has changed. What used to be lush and green is now black and brown. So destruction took place in many different ways, you know. Yeah. Um Interesting about the burnt grass. My nephew is a geography major. Must ask him what that's about. Yes, do it. And you can show him some of the videos I have on the channel. All right. Have to support my brother. I'm Jamaican. Yep, Jamaica needs all the support, and we're glad that Pastor Gino Jennings has set up a task force um, designed to send aid into Jamaica to help the saints that have been affected and so on. Basically, where I'm in Kingston, we hear the helicopters going to and fro every day, sometimes two helicopters, sometimes one. Um, we hear them going to and fro from Kingston into the other areas, bringing supplies. We can see the trucks being filled with goods and stuff going to and fro. There are some areas where people are just starving. I saw a video where when the truck or the van reached a particular community to give them some supplies, the people were rushing and so desperate. The, the truck had to drive off because it felt as though they were going to just take over the truck and destroy everything. You know, when people get desperate for food, things like that will happen. I think now police officers are giving caution for persons who are going into the areas to be cautious. Make sure you don't go late at night, um, and you know, try not to stop at lonely areas, that kind of a thing, because now in this time, like we said, people are going back to their wicked ways. There are those that desperately need help and are genuine, and they would gladly accept whatever you have to give them. But then there are those who are using this time to vandalize. I'm hearing that somewhere women are being raped, persons are being sexually abused and taken advantage of. I don't have any evidence of this, but that's some of the things I am hearing. Don says prophecy is fulfilling each day. These young people have no fear of God, and as such, they have no regard or respect for the elderly. Shake my head, and I have to agree with you. Absolutely. As Pastor loves to say, from Jamaica house to the gig house, has no fear of God. People more concerned about getting rich than serving God. And you're absolutely right. Yep. All right. Let's talk about something else that I saw. Of course, if you have any other feedback, you're welcome to put that in the chat. Let's talk about something else that I saw. I saw something on Instagram talking about an anime that is sparking controversy, but strange controversy. Usually, you know, we're accustomed to a man and a woman in a relationship, and they would use animes or cartoons would mimic what happens in real life. And so we're accustomed to seeing a male and a female um, being depicted as being in relationships. Who would have ever thought that the day would come when you have an anime that shows a normal male and female relationship that mimics, you know, real life scenarios, and it would be criticized as though it was something abominable in terms of a man and a woman. Some people of certain sect, certain persuasion, are making an issue out of this, because they feel offended at the depiction of a man and a woman. So let me read the caption. It's the bold caption says Disney accused of promoting traditional values. Whoever thought that this would have been a thing? Disney is accused of promoting traditional values. So depicting male and female. So in this picture, the female is pregnant, as is the way in nature. But the criticism is coming in not because the content is maybe above a certain age, but just the nature of it being heterosexual, meaning male and female. That is a problem. Like, when did we get here? So let me read some of the information above. The new animated film Versa sparked controversy online. In one scene, a man and a pregnant woman hold hands under the pink sky. Stars glow between them. One even shines on the woman's belly, as we can see. It continues to say viewers slammed the studio, accusing it of pushing heteropropaganda. And one commenter said, my 3-year-old granddaughter looked at me with innocent eyes and asked, Grandma, is it okay for a woman to love a man? And the person says, disgusting. Who would have thought we would have gotten here where that just the idea of a male and a female in a relationship promoting the idea of a family as was intended, and that would have been something distasteful and despicable, something controversial that is rejected by the society, that you would come under fire for promoting a man and a woman instead of two men or two women. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think is happening to the society? Why have we come here? And where are we really heading? What do you think life is going to be like for the next generation or the next 2 generations to come if God tarries? So let me check the comments and see what's going on, what you guys are saying. So Don says prophecy fulfilling again, calling good evil. Pete Gay says these are really the last days. Isaiah 5:20 really fulfilling as we speak. Don says the last time I checked, 2 women or 2 men can't conceive a child. And you know they're trying to find ways to get how do we say, artificially inseminate and then find a way to plant that into a male and somehow cook up some kind of scientific thing to have him carry a child. I mean, trust me, when me eat and I eat the wrong thing and get gas and my belly puff up, it is so uncomfortable as a man. Much more for me now. Forgot think about scientists try work some kind of thing on my body for make me get pregnant and carry a woman. Like a man's body wasn't designed for that. You know, it's so much stress and pressure on your body. I don't know how you gonna do it. I don't know if anybody in the chat has ever really been bloated. I've experienced it, you know, since last year. Never really had that experience before, but since last year, I've experienced significant bloating depending on what I ate. And I'm telling you, just sitting is a challenge. I have to sit a certain way, and the pressure on my belly, you know. I have to go find some kind of thing, new gel or, you know, some boss gas, some kind of antacid to get rid of the excess gas. Thank God I don't have to live on it right now, but I can tell you about it. I had that experience. So if a gas feels so, me no want. I don't want to know what it feels like to try to for a man, because I know a woman's body is designed a certain way, her body adjusts and space, her organs them shift and make space for this baby. And even with that design, it's still an amount of discomfort for a woman. Much more tough skin man, so I don't know. The only reason why I want God to tarry is to get myself more ready, but I can't imagine what this world will be like if two other generations are allowed to come. Ah, and what do we know based on scripture? We know that even when the church is taken out of the world, there will be more time for the devil to work on the people that are left behind. There's some other activities that must take place according to the book of scripture. So it's safe to say that the earth is going to be here for quite a while, even if the Lord comes and brings in the first resurrection. Between the first resurrection and the second resurrection, there is going to be some amount of time and some amount of activities that will take place then. But even with the church here, before the Lord comes, there are still some things that are going to be fulfilled up to that time too. So we don't even know of that day and of that hour knoweth no man, as the scripture says. But yeah, man. So somebody, Sister Dawn, talking to me about pregnancy now. Talk to me, Sister Dawn. You're saying pregnancy is no joke. No man could survive being pregnant if that was even remotely possible. Pregnancy is not for the weak or faint-hearted. I think I did see an article, Sister Dawn, where some experiment was done for a man to get pregnant. I don't remember if it was in China or where it was now. Don't quote me on it. I might have to research it while we're speaking. But some research was done and something was planted inside of the man, and you can imagine the scientists slash doctors had to make all kinds of different adjustments because naturally it's not possible for a man, right? So whatever they had to do, they did all kind of funny arrangements. Of course, a man does not have a placenta, right, for this baby to be attached by the umbilical cord and all of that. So I don't know what they did, but they did some kind of artificial thing, and some baby was inside of this man. But it's beyond me. Yeah. And I think since then other people have tried it, so but nature lets you know it's not something natural, it's not something normal. Someone is saying China. You're confirming it is China. China tried it but it didn't work. Okay. Yeah, I know I did see something with some belly going on there. As to the successful delivery, and that is another thing, like the delivery method, because which part of the baby going to come out through? You understand? We don't have nothing that make for baby come out of. So that's another thing. Oh boy, I tell you. But yeah, guys, we were discussing the whole controversy regarding Disney being accused of promoting traditional values. So apparently now, in today's time, if you promote regular values, then you are seen as strange. Um, I'm see- I don't even know if I should show this video on my channel, but I found a video, guys, of um, a man. It's on YouTube saying he's pregnant. So of course, they would have had to do, and I think they have to. There has to be a woman involved too. So because two men is impossible for two men to get pregnant. So they have to get some woman's egg and use something from the man and fertilize the woman's egg and then create some kind of environment within the body of the subject and do all kind of crazy experiment to make this appear to be some sort of pregnancy. All right, so I'm gonna show you um, the YouTube video I've located here. By the way, let me know if you guys are here. Let me know if you guys are hearing the sound or if you're just seeing the video go by. Might be a good idea if you're not hearing it too, because sometimes when I play videos and they have these background music, it's all kind of copyright laws. But I just want to show you that this once they did that trial in China, then it was just a matter of time for them to try it again in certain other areas. Yeah. He needs to lay off that beer. No. It's not beer. I promise you. It's an experiment that they're doing. I'm gonna try to share it again and let you guys hear the sound, so you can hear what they're talking about. But it's the world that we live in, the world that we live in. So I'm gonna go back to the beginning.
I have been in the hospital since about 1:30 a.m. on Monday morning. Baby and I are being monitored. All is well.
This man is preparing to give birth in one of the least LGBTQ plus friendly states in the U.S.
Pregnant women are celebrated. Trans people are not.
Georgia has sodomy laws, HIV/AIDS criminalization laws, and no statewide policies preventing insurance exclusions for trans health care. It also has one of the most visible anti-trans politicians in Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. That means this family and this family.
For a while, it looked like we were just a regular old hetero couple.
And this family.
She told Jackson on the playground that he was stupid. Basically told him that God didn't love him.
Are all navigating building households in a state where some of their government officials say things like,
no to biological males in women's sports. No to biological males in women's shelters, locker rooms, and showers. And no to transgender medical treatments for children, which is child abuse.
So in a place where politicians filed 7 anti-LGBTQ plus bills during the 2021-2022 season.
So as you can hear, the narration behind this video, which I'm not really interested in playing all of that, but the narration behind it is to make it seem as though um, they are in the right, and those who are standing up for biblical principles are in the wrong. All right, so it's geared towards seeking pity, seeking endorsement for that kind of flag that you're seeing on the screen. All right. But I was just sharing it with you guys just so that you see what I'm saying, that um, they're trying to do this medical alteration to have a man carry a baby in his gut. I can't say in his womb because a man doesn't have a womb. In his gut. I don't know how they do it. I don't know what kind of alteration they do, but yeah. And then, as they were saying, when you look at, for example, a couple like this that you're seeing on the screen, you would think, okay, it's a regular male and female. But in this case, here, the man would want to be the one to carry the child, is essentially what they are saying. So imagine a man and a woman get married, but the man wants to be the one that gets pregnant. That'd be very weird. Very weird. All right. Um, let's see. Where the baby gonna come out through? They're gonna do a C-section. I don't know what if they call it C-section or D-section or belly section. I don't know what they call it. Um, yeah. People out here trying to change the truth of God into a lie. Yep. That's what's going on. That's what's happening. Yep. Yes, guys. By the way, I do have a song that I want to share. It might take me a while now to find it though. I'm looking at my other screen on this side. See if I can find it for you guys. It's a song that was sent to me from another Caribbean island, and I want to share it with you guys. So if I don't find it tonight, I'll just upload it on the channel as a separate song. I don't remember if it came in from St. Lucia, but yeah, I thought it was a nice song. Yeah, I think I found it. So I'm gonna bring it in the studio in a little bit. Yeah, the thing is very encouraging. So yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on what I've shared so far? Sister Dawn says, I don't think the Lord will allow that to be a reality. That would discredit him as the creator of life. The devil would have a field day with that if it became a reality. Well, I mean, it's not really a reality in the sense that a man can't truly get pregnant. We know that. He definitely can't have a natural delivery. We know that. But they are able to fertilize an egg using part from the woman, part from the man, and they could, sort of create the right environment for that life to be formed. The details of it, I don't know. But it doesn't disprove God. It shows that God is right because it still takes something from the man and something from the woman to go together to form the life anyway. And then the natural way of being pregnant and so on, that has been proven that the woman was designed for that and not the man. Yeah. So let me see if I can share the video with you guys now. And we can do it like this.
sing a song, The God of the Mountain. Life is easy when you're up on the mountain.
All right. So I trust that you were blessed by that song. God of the day, the God of the night, God of the good times, the God of the bad times. In every situation, in every circumstance, He is still God. Somebody say amen. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, well, we thank you so much for tuning in, for sticking and staying with us throughout the good news and also throughout the bad news when things go up. By the way, guys, I I think this is gonna be funny for you guys. Um, I saw a video of this was a press conference, and in this press conference, someone from a particular, I don't know if it was a media house, but they were asking a particular question of the government to help to solve the crisis that seems to be brewing. And they have a legitimate concern. This is the concern where you have a lot of dead bodies and some of them that you cannot reach to for whatever reason. You can't drive because the roads are impassable, and you could use a helicopter, but the helicopters can't go everywhere, and the helicopters have to be dropping food and so on. So the concern is this, that if it's going to take you long to get to where the carcasses are of the dead, there are some natural undertakers that the Lord has made. The John Crows. In Jamaica, they say John Crow, but it's John Crow. The Crows. You guys know what a John Crow is? Let me know if you know what a John Crow look like. If you don't, I can show you guys. All right, I can show you what a John Crow looks like. These are John Crows. Never mind the man's face. I don't know why his face comes up there when I put in John Crow. Don't ask me. Okay. But these vultures, these birds, you see with the red head and the black body, these are John Crows. They do have some with white body, white feathers too. Those are very rare. We mostly see the full black ones. All right. So them I will call John Crow. So wherever you have dead bodies, carcasses, it doesn't matter whether it's a human or it's a bird or it's a dog, whatever animal it is, as long as you got something that's dead and it starts to smell, in comes the John Crows, the vultures. All right. So a request was made at a government press conference to have the John Crows assist with the cleaning up of the dead that may be causing, stinkness in and around St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, St. James, or even Trelawn if needs be. But the way the question was asked, this is what cracked me up. Listen to this.
Morning. I had some questions, but I don't necessarily know if anybody from the environmental sector is here. It has to do with just the decaying of carcasses and speeding that up. I went on Friday, didn't see any John Crows in the air, and wondered, on a serious note, if anything could be done about getting some John Crows in the area to take up some of the carcasses. Morning. I had some questions.
She has a point, but my word, the way how the question was asked. Now, I'm gonna play it again, guys, and I want you to pay attention. Pay attention to the person who is standing behind her when she's asking the question. There's someone behind. There's a gentleman behind. He might be the videographer or next to the videographer. Pay attention to him. He doesn't know what to do with himself. He doesn't know if he should laugh. He doesn't know if he should cry. He doesn't know. So he hides his face. Watch this.
Questions, but I don't necessarily know if anybody from the environmental sector is here.
All right. This is the gentleman here seen with the, spiking hairstyle. Yeah. He might be operating the camera. Watch his face when she brings out that question and she's like, John Crow, he's like, like, she really said that?
It has to do with just the decaying of carcasses and speeding that up. I went on Friday, didn't see any Crows in the air, and wondered, on a serious note, if anything could be done about getting some Crows in the area to take up some of the carcasses. Morning.
So let's read some of the let's read the comments. Someone says, can someone check on the guy in the back? Check if he's okay. The bro held on, because there's a thing when it's really funny but you can't laugh out. And here's a here's a meme. Job vacancy, position of John Crow, location Western Jamaica, competitive pay package. Hey, Jamaicans are easy, trust me, Jamaicans make a laugh out of everything. Paula says, so she could have said vultures. Let me go look for me uterus there. No, she's extra. What she's trying to say is she's laughing too much. She's about to fall out. Did you check on the person speaking with the mic is okay? If the person speaking with the mic is okay? No, but you got weird on a back. I don't know.
With
what would your reaction?
Carcasses and speeding that up. I went on Friday.
What would your reaction be if you were standing there? What would your reaction be? Just let me know. What would your reaction be if you were the one standing there? It's really funny if you ask me. Really just just really. It's easy to ask those questions when it's not your loved one being one of dead. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, because who would be comfortable to know that, okay, I can't find my loved one, so just send some junk crow. Them eat up them body there and call it a day. So, yeah, it's a matter of, what you call it, dignity and how you feel emotionally. I think he wanted to say woman. Yeah, idiot or what? Yes, Dan, I hear the Jamaican coming out in you. Oh, mercy. Oh, boy. Yeah, it's one of those things I saw, and I was like, man, I don't know how to feel about it. I can't shoot her down because I understand. It's just like I was saying earlier with the, how many dead bodies are there, some they can't find, and then you're getting the smell. And for the people that are living there to have to smell this, and on top of that being hungry, on top of that you lost your house, on top of that you're subject to thieves coming in and stealing stuff. It's just a lot going on. So one can understand, one can really understand um, how this might be affecting them at the moment. Um, so, so in addition to all the physical help that people need, there's also a psychological aspect of it. And I trust they're dispatching some counselors. I don't know if social workers are needed, but people's mental health are going to be under attack in times like these. You know, depression is going to kick in. I trust we don't have suicides happening in that area as a result of the pressure, because we've begun to see that our young people, um, a lot of our young people are not able to take pressure, constant pressure, and so the environment is quite depressing. Um, the stench of rotten human body is like nothing you've ever smelled. Mm. I mean, I can just imagine. I can just imagine. My heart goes out to the children. Yep, and to think about the children who should be in school learning and preparing to do their exams next year, but then they don't have a house. They don't have a home. They might be catching in some little center, maybe at their neighbor's house, catching up in a room someplace. It's really rough. It's really rough. So coming out of this, going into 2026, 2027, there are going to be a lot of stories. A lot of stories. Um, God willing, I'm trying to get into some of these areas to talk to some of the people, and hopefully I'll have some of these conversations to share with you of the experiences that people are having that they wish to share, so you can get a better idea of what we're really talking about, you know. Yep. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I think I'm going to sign off at this point. We will be back with you, God willing. If it's your first time watching us, do remember to subscribe so that you know whenever we go live again next time. Until we see you again, let me just take this last comment, Brother Andrew. Outside of the Truth of God, any other church organizations offer to help in any shadow or form? Yeah, to be honest, I think a lot of Jamaicans are rallying around, churches are rallying around and doing the best that they can do. I must say that I do see camaraderie. And someone did ask me earlier about the Chinese. I must say, let me commend the Chinese. The Chinese community have come together and they have been doing a lot. So I don't have anything negative to say about them. I know a lot of them personally. I talk to them. They tell me about what they're doing. They, you know, one of them told me how much the expenses are for them to pull off some of the projects that they're doing. And I truly appreciate it, what they're doing. And one thing I can say about the Chinese, they know how to work together. So, you know, they come together and lobby on our behalf, and they get millions of dollars together to do a lot, both in food items, water, and so on, edibles, things that can be eaten, and also in looking at assisting with shelter. So yeah, to answer this question about the Chinese flag flying in St. Elizabeth, I guess they're just highlighting the fact that they are helping Jamaica, because sometimes they come under negative stereotyping, you know, in Jamaica. So when they are doing something positive, they tend to highlight that. So in this case, I have nothing negative to say about what they're doing. We're very grateful to them for what they are doing, and for all the persons across the world who are lending a helping hand, who have been moved with compassion and are assisting in whatever way you can. We truly appreciate it and thank God for you. All right, brothers and sisters, let me see. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh no, in terms of the flag and all that, nah, I don't know the history behind that. So you're gonna have to educate me on that if there's something else that I'm missing in terms of flying the flag at the parish. I have no idea. Yep. Striving handmaid. Welcome, man. You just made it. Sleep and wake. Just when we were about to close off the show. Well, one of these days, I want to have maybe more like a more extended talk show, so we can open up the floor and talk some more extensively and just kind of help you guys go through the day, just kind of be your background sound while you go through um, and address some issues. There are a couple of things I want to talk about, I want to deal with on this channel. One of them being stereotyping people, mocking people, jeering them for their shortcomings, affecting people's self-esteem. I want to talk about a whole lot of stuff. I mean, I have some personal experiences which I have never shared publicly before that I want to open up and share and relate my experiences, and hopefully those can be of help to others as well. But we're not going to do that tonight, or shall I say this morning. But we will be back, God willing. You pray for me. So we'll be back and to talk some more about some of these things and hopefully help several people. All right. Well, you made it in time. And I guess what's good is you can always go back and skip through and listen to some of the things that we spoke about on this live here tonight. Thank you so much. Your presence is always appreciated, always welcome. It's the people like you that keep watching this channel that motivate us to keep going and keep doing what we're doing. And you will hear more from us, God permit. Peace and blessings unto all.